Powered by Riverside FM. Powered by Riverside FM.
Right. Hello, everyone. And once again, a very warm welcome to ChaiNet, the agentic commerce podcast exploring how brands are building in an AI world. I'm Rashid, your host, and today's guest did something which a lot of people advise not to. He entered a market that was practically empty and then built a category from scratch. Jashid Hameed is the co-founder of Nuvedo, India's first premium functional mushroom brand. Before Nuvedo, he was managing 25 fast fashion stores across India for Aditya Birla, before which he did his MBA from IIM Indore. He's also from my alma mater, BITS Pilani, so we share a deep connection with that. He walked away from a very well-growing career trajectory to grow mushrooms, and he went on Shark Tank India. And when he did, there's a very interesting anecdote that he had actually had to tell one of the sharks that mushrooms are not plants. So yeah, that's that. Imagine the market he chose to build in. And we're going deep today. We'll be going deep into the GTM playbook of a zero awareness category, and also how AI is helping businesses like this. And we'll learn from Jashid. So let's call him on stage. Hi, Jashid. How are you?
Hi Rajat, I'm
Thank
good.
you.
Nice
Great,
to
great.
nice to nice to be here, and thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for your time. So let's dive right in. So let's start from the start, from Nuvedo start. So you had a very structured, uh, you went to bits, then IM, then retail, like a perfect career trajectory, right? What happened? How did you end up starting something like this?
That's the way that you asked. Like you were going so well, and then something happened. Honestly, I feel like it was the best decision I made in my life,
Hmm.
and my life changed for the better. And I feel like this hasn't been any looking back or questioning anything
Wow.
since.
Hmm.
And I feel like these are the things that you are meant to do as a kid who is good in academics, right?
Right.
Your trajectory is already set for you when you're in high school. You're good in math, you're good in
Hmm.
science, you have some aptitude. So they're like, yeah, you should write JE or BITSAT and take up science and become
Yes.
an engineer.
Correct.
Then I went to
And
engineering. Didn't have the best time with engineering. I had a great time in
Mhm.
college, but
Right.
didn't learn much about engineering, very frankly.
Right.
And I feel like started exploring a lot of things. Was kind of sure that this corporate world and the rest of the normal trajectory of things was not
Hmm.
for me. But I guess I was still on the FOMO train where everybody's doing
Hmm.
the next is MBA. I
Right.
don't want to miss out, right? And again, I feel like all of those things in retrospect is leading me to where I am today. So the MBA was great, BITS was great, the first job was great, but it was not aligned with what I wanted to do with my life,
Hmm.
right? There was this, I think when all the newness disappeared, when the learnings disappeared and the monotony of the sort of work started hitting me, that's when I had the time to reflect and say, hey, I don't think I want to sell clothes, and that too in fast fashion.
Right. Right.
There's this cognitive dissonance because I consider myself as someone who loves nature, who loves to spend time in nature, deeply inspired by all the things that are there around us. And it was and is and continues to be a big part of me, my relationship with nature, right?
Right.
And that sort of cognitive dissonance used to come every day while going to sleep, that you're great at your job, but you're basically making people buy clothes that they don't need. You can
Right.
try and you can try and justify this by saying that you're helping them express themselves or as part of their identity, or they're going to buy stuff anyway. But honestly, I was not happy with what I was doing. And that's when this thing of, okay, what next? Right? That's when the whole what next started. And as life would have it, that's when I met my then girlfriend, now wife and business partner, Prithvi. And I guess she was also in a similar situation where she was in quantum cybersecurity,
Wow.
like super deep tech,
Super deep tech. Right.
super deep tech. And she was also not able to relate after a point with what she was doing, because she was like, yeah, we're very simple people. We love nature and we want to do something surrounding this. But we didn't know what. So we took a year off. Like we took a full year off. And again, like taking a sabbatical in India is like unheard of, right? Because they feel like that
Correct.
gap year means you will never get a job again.
Right.
But we took a huge, bold step. We literally sold everything that we had in Bangalore, packed whatever we could in two rucksacks, and we just left.
Wow.
Yeah. And I feel like that 1 year was extremely powerful because what we did was we tried to test out the romantic farm life. Everybody
Oh,
has this
wow.
vision
Wow.
that I want to retire and buy a farm and live off the land and all of that, right? So we thought, okay, let's test it out. So we spent an entire year traveling, living from farm to farm, basically. And honestly, I think the best thing that we did was not have an objective in mind, not put a time on it, and not really put pressure ourselves into finding something. Because second you're taking a sabbatical, you take a break. The question always is like, so how long? Like, what do you want to do next? How long are you
Right.
taking a break for? Right?
Correct.
And the second you step into that, you're back on the wheel. You're back on the same treadmill. And then you have again, you're in that very narrow tunnel vision, and you sort of miss out everything else on the way because you're seeking something, right? You're constantly trying to seek something which is the next, like that moving
Right.
goalpost. And that's exactly what we didn't do. We took it day to day. We had absolutely no outcome in mind, right? We didn't know what we wanted to do, neither did we want to.
Right.
So I guess when you create that kind of space in your life, things come. What we're doing right now is packing so many things in the name of productivity that we're not allowing things to sort of unfold, or you're not exploring really. You feel like you're exploring, but you're not, because you're in a very
Hmm.
limited field of view.
Right.
And living inside the system, you think this is the only thing that exists. But when you leave and you go to the farms and you meet all these people who are educated, highly successful, living off the land, you realize that that's also a life that works.
Hmm.
And that's where
Correct.
that shift happened, that I think we can build something.
Hmm.
Right? We want to do something in farming, but we quickly realize that farming is a romantic idea. It's very hard,
Hmm. Correct.
right? It's super difficult, not so lucrative, extremely risky. And
Yes.
right now with climate change and how things are moving, and
Hmm.
it's not a good space to be in. Honestly,
Right.
I have a lot of respect for farmers and people who are living off the land and who feed us after that experience, because it is
Right.
very hard. There's a reason why we
Hmm.
have all of these luxuries, right?
Hmm.
And
Correct.
that's when the sort of aha moment, or as I would have it, fate sort of brought us to mushrooms, because a lot of my friends from Bits, many of them are in the US. Some of them turned
Mm-hmm.
some mushroom supplements, and I tried using a couple of them, and they were really good for my health. I was having some issues with allergies and some, how do you say, hyperactive immune system, and not
Mm-hmm.
a big fan of antihistamines. So one of my friends suggested I take reishi mushrooms, and I was using that product.
Right.
And during this gap year is when COVID hit, and I ran out of the product.
Okay. Hmm.
Right?
Right. And of course, nothing was delivering at that time. You could not
Exactly.
call for
Nobody
it.
coming
Right.
from the US, none of my
Right.
products coming in. So of course you want to explore what's on in the Indian market. Check out Amazon.
Correct.
Did find some products. I did order them. I tried to use them, and nothing happened. Like I
Hmm.
really couldn't feel anything because I knew what to expect. And that's when the sort of light bulb slight light bulb moment of, okay, maybe this could be a space that we could work in because we really
Hmm.
know that mushrooms are good.
Right.
And this time spent in agriculture also made us realize that
Hmm.
mushroom is like the future of food. You can literally
Hmm.
use agri waste. It can grow anywhere. It's climate.
Correct.
You can grow throughout the year. Vertically scalable,
Hmm.
fast growing cycles. So it's more like running a factory than a farm. But it has all the amazing things of working with something natural, right? It's beautiful. You're growing it sustainably. It's food and medicine, and all of these things sort of like it ticked all the boxes that we were looking for. And that's when this whole idea of building a brand surrounding mushrooms came in. But again, that was a really long process, right?
Correct.
First, the MBA brain kicked in and said, let's just white label, only do branding, forget about
Hmm.
manufacturing, farming, this, that. Smartest thing to do, outsource everything, low risk,
Right.
build
Right.
a
Right.
brand. So we are like, okay, fine, let's find some contract manufacturers or OEMs or traders who can give us the right product.
Right.
And again, as this is again, I feel like all these things were leading us to where we are right now. We tried a bunch of vendors, all giving us Chinese product, and we were very, very particular that we want to support Indian mushroom growers.
Right. So
This,
when they were giving Chinese products, like they were importing mushrooms from China and then basically giving those to
yeah.
you.
So first thing we went behind is the extracts because we wanted to,
Got it.
yeah,
Right. The extracts. Right.
yeah. The
Hmm.
benefit is what we wanted, so we wanted just the
Right.
extracts.
Hmm.
And man, honestly, if the extracts were really good quality, I think I would have gone ahead with it. But at the time, whatever
Right.
we tried was not up to the mark. A, I didn't feel anything. B, when we tested it, it was full of heavy metals, 60% fillers,
Hmm.
right?
Oh.
All the
Right.
certificates were fake. So there was this like kind of like distrust that happened. So, which again felt like, okay, fine. I tried two vendors, three vendors, and all of them were the same. And I was just like, okay, this
Right.
just means that I don't want to buy the final product. Then I thought, okay, fine, let's go one step behind. Let's buy the mushroom and then manufacture this extract,
Right.
right? So we went to CFTRI Mysore, gave worked with the biotech company, incubated there. They did the full formulation, right? They helped us with all this hardcore science of extraction and formulation,
Right.
product development, which took around 2 years, right?
Wow.
And while this was happening, we tried again for the initial trials. We tried again buying mushrooms, but same thing, man. Like they were giving us imported mushrooms. None of the farms were being transparent. Like nobody was allowing a farm visit.
Oh,
Why would you
wow.
not want me to see
Wow.
what you're doing? Then something is
Right.
wrong, right?
Of course. For sure.
Yeah. Whatever I need to know about mushrooms is online. So there's nothing secretive about mushroom growing.
Right.
And I know it's a lot of hard work. So why don't you want me to come to your place and see it?
Correct.
And I'm paying
Correct.
you money for this.
Hmm.
As a
There's
customer, I
something
am.
something fishy going on over there.
Because what they were doing, none of them grew these mushrooms. These are super exotic ones. So it was really hard and there was no market really. So they were just importing and selling from China again.
Reselling. Right.
Resellers,
Right.
no manufacturers. And again, this process kept going on. Then we hired a consultant and he also didn't know anything. Finally, what happened was we had to do every single thing in house. That's what
Wow.
the whole
Hmm.
value chain had to be in house, right? That was the learning from this that if you want the best, you better do it yourself, right?
Right.
Till I can find somebody who can do it better than me.
Right. Correct.
So that's where what led us to mushrooms.
Right.
And then again, I feel like we'll both love the challenge. Both Prithvi and I, wanted something challenging. And the
Hmm.
funny thing is, man, the funny thing is about this journey is when we looked at mushrooms, we found that there are no brands. Nobody has even touched that space.
Hmm.
To be in a country with more than a billion people and to find
Right.
a category in which nobody had really like played or done something,
Right. That's
it's like,
also very rare. Very rare.
yeah, it
Right.
was a very rare moment, and we are like, okay, this is a sign. You know,
Hmm.
this is a sign. It's super
Right.
exciting. You get to create a market and change people's perception about something, which
Right.
was exciting and challenging at the same time. And we said, let's do it.
Hmm.
And
Right.
that's what led us to this.
Wow. That's an amazing story. And yeah, I think it's usually it spending 2 years just like just figuring out the product like and figuring out that okay this is not working out, that also requires a lot of persistence, like I think, and also requires a lot of planning in terms of how do you manage life, right? How do you manage finances? How do you manage the log kya kahenge part of it, the
Mhm.
social part of it? It's like kudos to you, man. Like there are right now the playbook is, as you said, right? Like find a manufacturer, build a brand, and then figure everything out later, right? But you
Yeah,
like kind of worked in reverse. Also because there was nothing in the market at that time, right? It was absolutely blank. But since then, now do you have competitors, and now do you have has that happened in the last
right.
couple of years?
So you have to look at the global landscape, right?
Hmm.
Mushrooms are not new. It blew
Hmm.
up in the US around 2015, I would say, right?
Hmm.
10 years ago is when this shroom boom, as they call it, started in the US. And right,
Hmm.
it's still growing. It's still booming. Eh? Right now, it's become a mainstream category.
Hmm.
And
Right.
like all other trends that we are following in India, everything comes from the West, right? The ideas are all sold from there.
Right.
And we
Correct.
knew it was just a matter of time before it came here. So we were banking on sort of that trend, and we were seeing, like, we saw all these, how do I say, we saw some of these tailwinds in some sense. Like, for example, the number of listings of Asian and sort of Chinese and Japanese restaurants
Hmm.
selling like exotic mushroom food.
Correct.
Yeah, just on Swiggy, if you did a search, you could see that what was there in when I just moved to Bangalore, and 5 years later there was
It's
a shift.
changed. Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I feel like there was a lot of gut feeling that this is coming here.
Hmm.
And we were also very, while we are doing this research, we're seeing what's happening in the US. And
Hmm.
we were just looking for some trends which were sort of
Hmm.
like coming up here, right?
Right.
And we found a similar trajectory of what was happening in the US coming here. It was,
Hmm.
again, Asian food popularizing, more people traveling abroad, they're exposed to
Correct.
mushrooms through food. And I think that's where it starts,
Hmm.
right? So that's where it started. And then slowly, certain things blew up. Like mushroom coffee really had a moment in the US, and bigger
Hmm.
brands in the country, which is like startups at that time, like Ace Blends. Ace Blends is
Hmm.
a company which started, and they made mushroom coffee a big thing.
Hmm.
And
It
they
is
were,
not yet. I've not seen it hit so much in India, right?
it's not mainstream, but what they
Hmm.
did was they sort of popularized mushroom coffee, and in
Hmm.
that process, mushrooms became popular.
Okay. Right.
Right, and then there was a spillover effect of, hey, what does this mushroom do? And then they started looking for just the mushroom without the coffee, and then
Right.
they would come to folks like us.
Right. Correct.
Then international brands like Lifecycle. Lifecycle is an Australian brand. They're a very big brand globally. They shifted when their manufacturing to India a couple of years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and they started selling in India.
Hmm.
So all of these were again showing that the market is growing.
Hmm.
And market is still growing, but not at the pace that we would want it to in some sense. But
Hmm.
it's organically
Right.
picking up.
Is it's picking up? Yeah, as Asian food, and as the other industries grow, then this industry would pick
Correct.
up.
And a lot of the folks are listening to this also, and even you, Rachit, you would notice that a lot of these Kirana stores and small mom and pop
Hmm.
stores around our neighborhood earlier never had mushrooms. Those white button mushrooms were
Yeah.
also not there.
Right. They were
Now
not there.
every single thela wala selling veggies has mushrooms.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's a
Correct.
recent thing.
Right.
This
Right.
is very
And
recent.
the better supermarkets, they'll have like at least 5, 6 different kinds of mushrooms as well
Yeah, if
now.
not at least
Yes.
more than one, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
at
Yes.
least more than one, if not five, but at least two,
Hmm.
which was not
Right.
the case 5 years ago.
Correct. Right.
Right? Yeah. So
Hmm.
I feel like COVID also did a lot of things to sort of give people that space to think about what they're putting in their bodies, to understand how what kind of impact food has in their system. Now, this whole
Hmm.
protein movement also has pushed mushrooms into the limelight, which
Right.
again I will tell you is controversial. We'll come to that
Hmm.
later maybe. But I
Hmm.
feel like a lot of things have pushed mushrooms to the sort
Hmm.
of pantry in some sense.
Right.
And that sort of pushes all these extracts and wellness products also.
Correct. So in your case, what part of the what part of the business is extracts and versus the growing kits? Like how's it going? How's that part of the how's the segregation going? Are people now looking at like growing kits? Of course, I think that's very unique, and that's something very interesting. Extracts is a more like a everyday product, right? Like everyone would be wanting something like that. So like how does um, how does that work?
So we have to look at the trajectory of the company, right? So when we started the company, we did
Mm-hmm.
thorough research. We did a
Hmm.
lot of time on market research, right?
Hmm.
That's where the MBA really came in handy.
Right.
So all the real hardcore research, talking to people, codifying their responses, and then doing cluster analysis, trying to find out different customer profiles, understanding what their persona is, and working backwards to see how to sell this to people or how to make them fall in love with mushrooms. We realize that we can't sell this to everybody, right? Everybody says,
Right.
"Tam dekho, ye dekho, wo dekho." What
Hmm.
they don't realize is there is a niche market for things. There are niche players, right? Not everything
Correct.
has to be mass.
Right.
Valuation game has really skewed the way that we think about business. You could be in this really small
Absolutely.
space and do a killer job at it,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, there is a space for that. And if you're not in that niche, if you're outside that niche, you'll be like, what the hell is this? You won't be able to relate.
Right.
We were like, primary target audience at this point of time, early life cycle of the product is the people who want to take that risk, and they are the mushroom lovers, right?
Right.
So who do you sell to is a very, very important question. You
Important.
have
Yes.
to narrow down on the people who are going to buy it.
Correct.
Especially if you're a first mover and you're creating a category, you have to nail this. This is the make or break. I feel most people are not able to zero down on the customer and they think they can sell it to everybody, and they end up
Right.
spending too much money and bandwidth, and then finally they fail, right? And what we have realized is if you pay money, people can buy sand or bricks also.
Right.
I feel
Correct.
yeah, people take
Yeah.
anything for free.
Of course. Yes.
So here it was, how do we connect with the mushroom lovers, right? We can't sell them the extract. That's too far
Right.
ahead in their thing. Like a
Hmm.
person who just loves to eat mushrooms, suddenly you come and say, hey, this is going to regrow your brain or nerve cells. He'll be like, this is some snake oil or some scam, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
this is some MLM. I don't want to be a part of this. So
Right.
how do you break the ice?
Yes.
That's when the grow kit came,
Hmm.
right? That's how we introduced the grow kit, where we like, listen, we want something where we'll go right to the mushroom lover, right? We want to hit those guys, and it has to be a product which generates some kind of hype, something which is worth showing off, something that
Right.
stays in your house for long, something that
Right.
looks so good that you want to talk about it to all the people that you care about. And
Right.
that's when this grow kit idea hit. Why not give these folks a very new experience, right?
Hmm.
Everybody's grown plants, but nobody's
Hmm.
grown a mushroom. I hadn't. And when I did
Yeah.
that for the first time is when the team realized that it feels so good. I was going back to that box every hour. I'm so
Right.
curious.
Right.
And while that was happening, only thing I could think about was like, oh, hey, how do I find out more about this? It really brought that childlike innocence back and the curiosity back.
Right.
And I saw that with all the people who bought the initial prototypes from us before we
Right.
launched the brand. And it was
Hmm.
very, we knew this was going to happen, right? So what we did was we launched these kits, and people started buying them and getting the experience of growing their own mushrooms. And then finally,
Right.
the association built with Nuvedo is a mushroom brand. These guys are all
Wow.
about mushrooms, right?
Wow. So
And then
GTM lesson number one, that how do you get to, like, you have something in mind and you know that there might be people who love it. How do you get to that, right? For that was the growth kit.
correct, yeah, the grow kit was just a way to enter people's home and add them to a funnel
Right. Hmm.
and create evangelists. All the people who grow those mushrooms felt so good about it. They all became mini subject matter experts and mushroom evangelists of each
Wow.
family,
Right.
right?
Correct.
They all became those people in their family. Just think about this. The first time you do something, you're really happy. There's a sense of achievement. You grew something, you ate it, right, with your family. First thing will go to his family WhatsApp group, right?
Yes. Correct.
Or very close friends,
Yes, for sure.
and they trust you. This is, yeah, your family, right? This is not a random influencer on Instagram.
Right.
It's somebody that you know,
Right.
right? So word of mouth became very strong. People
Hmm.
started loving mushrooms more. It started solving a lot. Another thing that happened with this was what we realized was mushrooms are not neutral. It's not a new category. It's a category in which people don't like it. We are not starting from baseline.
You're right. Yes, yes. Either people, like, I love love to eat mushrooms, but yeah, there are people, even like vegetarians. I would say a lot of vegetarians generally sometimes they don't like mushrooms at all. Right? They're like, we're
Yeah.
not good. We don't like
We don't
mushrooms.
eat because it's
We
like
don't.
we have
Yeah.
never eaten because it's non-veg. There's this air of
Right.
oh, mushrooms are dirty or they
Yes.
can
Yes.
kill
Yes.
you or they make you sick. There is this
Right.
lack of trust, and anything that makes you sick or sort of like threatens your existence in any way, automatically your brain goes into this thing of I don't want to do anything with this, no risk.
Right.
So this kit changed that for so many people. So many people had mushrooms in their life for the first time after they grew it, right? And they're like, I grew it at home. I saw it growing, so it's not dirty. It doesn't look dirty to me. It looks so clean. And then they cooked it and they ate it and they had such an amazing experience that they told everybody about it, that it's so good. And
Right.
then we had these QR codes on the box which you scanned, it took you to the product page, which had recipes, which had blogs. So we knew that while they grow, they want to find more about it. Also, if they have a bad experience or if they have any doubts, they want to talk to somebody who can guide them
Correct.
because they feel like they've done something wrong. And we use that opportunity to open those conversations with customers early on. That's why our early customers still now are very, very loyal to us and they've become friends,
Right.
right? Because we realize that a customer who's always happy and has never had a bad experience versus somebody who found it challenging and you help them, it's in the latter case that the loyalty is more,
Right.
right? Because you've earned that trust back.
And yeah, when you have a good product, then of course you get like friends take more time to become customers. Customers take less time to become friends
Yeah, and that
if
is
you're solving their problem. Yeah.
yeah, that happened. And see, another reason why we did this was we are figuring out how to do this whole extraction thing, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course you needed that time, and you needed to build a community around it, and while you figure out
And figuring out the growing
the
part
stack.
and scaling up the
Yes.
cultivation. We
Hmm.
literally started the first batch of grow kits in this room right here behind me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. With a pressure cooker and very basic
Hmm.
materials, house full of straw. We were lugging around bales of ragi straw behind our I-10 all over Bangalore,
Wow.
trying to get it cut. So yeah,
Right.
early days were like that.
Must have been, yeah. It's but yeah, those days are fun, right? They're also like they're a different kind of fun. You know, you're trying to figure out, and yeah, that's a that's a very different experience. Only if you're building something on your own from scratch, only then you can get that
Right.
experience.
So coming back to the question, right
Hmm.
now, if you look at it,
Right.
more than 70% of our revenue comes from extracts.
Extracts. Okay.
In
So
terms of
that.
revenue, the grow kits are not a big chunk.
Right.
And it's a lot of effort because there's a lot of returns, people ordering the wrong growing kit, it getting lost, getting damaged on the way. And it
Right.
costs us a lot to ship because they're very bulky. They might not weigh much.
Right.
Each of them
But the volume,
volumetrically is very high.
volumetrically,
So
right.
more than I would say 40% of our what do you say margin goes in just shipping and replacements. But we still
Right.
do it because we feel like it's good for the community. The community
Hmm.
love and the customer love and the recall. You don't remember like you don't remember brands or things anymore. So how do you
Right.
stay in people's mind by doing this?
Right. Correct. Correct.
We will always
It's
have cultivation supplies.
it helps with the with the community angle of it. Like yeah, it helps people relate more to the brand, build
And
that community side.
the
Yes.
story of the brand is that see we are here to help you sort of heal or get the healing benefits of mushrooms and that can look like so many things, right?
Right.
And we are willing to meet you wherever you are in your journey. I'm not saying buy the extract. I said I'm saying you grow the mushroom and you make the extract yourself. All the information you want on our website.
Right.
When you do that, you'll possibly understand that hey, listen, this is not easy. I might
It's
as well
not
buy the
easy.
extract.
Right.
Right? So
Correct.
I am coming and telling you wherever you are in the journey with mushrooms, I'm willing to meet you where you are. If it's going outside looking for wild mushrooms, we have like field guides. Like we
Right.
came up with a field guide of
Oh
mushrooms in
wow.
Bangalore, right?
Hmm.
If you want to go out looking for mushrooms, we can give you that. If you want
Oh
to
wow.
grow it, you can grow the mushrooms. We have workshops for that. If you want to just get the mushrooms, we'll give you the dry mushrooms. If you want the extracts, we have that. So wherever you are in your journey with
Right.
mushrooms, we are willing to meet you wherever midway. So that's
Amazing.
the
Yeah.
larger picture of the brand.
Picture of the brand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not just here to sell you products.
Hmm.
We're helping you
Correct.
cultivate that relationship.
Amazing. Yeah. And yeah, love and that's so from what I understand, it took you a lot of time to, and it is taking you a lot of time to build that community around the build the ecosystem around the market, right? Like to like be it cultivation, be it extracts. Of course, now 70%, but it took you so many years to even figure out the technology. How do you extract so much? How do you grow so much?
Yeah.
Um, uh, if we talk to your MBA brain, would you like if let's say there are founders who have who might be able to see some sort of a gap in some industry today, and they're like, okay, there might not be anything, but maybe there's no market for it, right? And that is why there are nothing, no companies doing that. Would you recommend them to travel a similar journey on like what you have done?
Just because you identify a gap, I wouldn't recommend. Your whys have to be very
Hmm.
strong.
Hmm.
I was not doing this to make money. I could have stuck with
Hmm.
my job, right?
Right.
I wanted to
Right.
work with something that gave me purpose.
Hmm.
I wanted to help people, even
Right.
though I feel good about what I do, right?
Hmm.
All the people in our team, I wanted to come to work in a place where every day I felt like coming to work.
Hmm.
I wanted to be surrounded by people who loved what they did, right? This is
Right.
all the utopian vision of a great workplace, right? And I'm very inspired by the trajectory of Patagonia, right? Yuan Shonard is like a role model for me in terms of building
Hmm.
organizations. And I read
Yes.
that book. One of my, again, Bitzian friends gave me the book while
Hmm.
Nuvedo, and it really inspired me to say, why can't we make this for ourselves?
Yeah.
Not just so. I guess
Right.
there's a gap in the market, and it's a niche market. I don't think that's enough. That's a good enough reason for you to keep at
Hmm.
it, because the not so glorious part of this is the failure, the struggle, the sleepless nights, the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into building
Hmm.
something like this, right? It
Right.
has been a very hard
Yes.
journey,
Right.
but I wouldn't
They-
change anything about it. It's really rewarding. I loved every aspect of it, even the challenging parts, because that's what led us to
Correct.
this. But
Hmm.
I would not recommend this to everybody. This is not for
Hmm. Hmm. And in your journey, what has been the hardest? Like the like that time when you've been like, this is I wish I could go back to my job.
I don't think there was ever a time where felt like I want to go back to my job,
Hmm.
right? There was never a time where I felt like, oh, I wish I had not started this. But there
Right.
have been many times when I was wondering why I'm putting myself through so much stress. Those
Right.
days are there, man, when things go out of your hand and it's very stressful,
Hmm.
and you wish there was more help and more resources, and but
Right.
you're alone in this, right? Yeah, you have a team, but the battles in your mind are always your own to deal with. And I feel like most of the
Hmm.
insecurity comes when you start comparing,
Correct.
because
Correct.
conventional metrics of success, I don't
Hmm.
believe in them, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's not about your bank balance or how much property you have or what your net worth is. I feel like
Right.
how many people we have helped, how much waste I've removed from this planet, right? How many people we have shown how to grow their own food, how many
Hmm.
perceptions we have changed.
Right.
Yeah, so all of these things are the things that keep me going.
Hmm.
And on the days when it gets really hard, you fall back on these things, and that's what I said, man. The whys make sense. But if you have to ask me what were the really difficult times, early days were really hard, right? It was
Right.
all, yeah, because we were fully bootstrapped. We still are, right?
Right.
We have one angel investor and a couple of people from our team. Internal team only has put in the money to make this
Wow.
happen.
Hmm.
So early days was really hard. Putting money on the
Hmm.
table. See, I can go without salary, right? But I have folks who depend on me, have their
Of
families.
course.
Just because
Yes.
I don't have sales, I can't go and tell them that, hey, listen, this month I'm not paying your salary,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
It's not like a tech company, because these people are working for you in that space. There's machinery there, there's electricity, there's utilities, there's rent, there's a lot of expenses that you can't just like not pay because you don't have
Hmm.
business, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of risks. Contamination is a big risk, right?
Hmm.
You can put in all that work and wait months for this thing, and then one day you wake up and there's mold on everything.
Oh
What do you
God. Hmm.
what do you do? First, you have to
Hmm.
identify where it came from, fix the process, pull up your sleeves, and start over again, right?
Wow.
So
Hmm.
there are many challenges inside this. I've walked into a fruiting room, and there have been like tons of mushrooms which had just gotten contaminated, and I had tossed the whole batch. One day, one entire room caught fire. There was a short circuit,
Oh God.
and one of our fruiting rooms caught fire. We lost 6 months of hard work in that one
Wow.
moment, right?
Hmm.
And that room, we had to, again, we lost stock, we lost all the inventory, so we had to recalibrate and start the whole thing from scratch.
Hmm.
And one of the times, one of our machines blew up. It blew through the roof. It's an autoclave, it's a pressure vessel,
Oh.
right?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
the
Hmm. Right.
so these things keep happening, man. And one sensor failed in one of our machines. A couple of lakhs worth of extract burnt overnight. So these are the things
Wow.
you wake up and you can't really do
And you're
anything.
like, yeah, can't do about
Yeah.
anything about it.
And I feel
Hmm.
like every time something happens, you find out why it happened and you make sure it doesn't happen again. But
Hmm.
apart from that, you really can't do anything.
Correct. Correct.
But at this
Yes.
point, we have seen so many things that we are like, okay, fine. The brain just. The sad part about this is there is no time for you to feel upset.
Hmm.
You really can't process. As a
Right.
business
Right.
owner, the hard part is that you don't have time to sit with your emotions.
Hmm.
You can't feel upset because you are already thinking of how
Correct.
to solve this.
Yes.
Right?
That's
You
right.
have to
Yeah.
find a way to keep this running because we have
Yeah.
stuff to do. We have to make sure the wheel keeps turning. So I feel like the downside of this is this, that you don't really get to sit with yourself and process the emotions of when something goes wrong. But I guess you just that's something that you live with as a leader.
Hmm. You learn to understand how to suppress your emotions in some part of your brain, which probably you can refer back to 10 years later.
Yeah, I don't
Once,
want to do
yeah.
that. I have my own outlets, and health and mental peace is like peace of mind and health is everything, man.
Of course, yes,
Yeah,
of course.
that's my thing.
Hmm.
If there's peace of mind and there's purpose, and then it makes money, I'll do it. Otherwise, no.
Hmm. Super.
That's
Yeah.
my yeah. I got this from somebody I met some time ago, and he said the same thing, and I follow that rule from that day.
Hmm.
First, it has
Right.
to be if there's no peace of mind, if it's stressful, automatically answer is no.
Hmm.
And second is okay, it's I can do this. It's not going to cause me unnecessary stress, and there is a purpose. There is a whole impact behind it. If these two
Hmm.
things are yes, then we can think about is there money in it, and then say yes.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think
Not
yeah,
these
that's very solid concepts to live by. Actually, I think if you can sleep well at night, 50% of your life automatically becomes better. Right. So.
Yeah, nothing is worth it, man. No,
Hmm.
yeah, these all these things are very fleeting, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, very philosophical discussion, but yeah, it is. It's everything that is material is very fleeting. Finally, if you don't have peace of mind,
Hmm.
nothing is worth it.
Right.
All the money in the world is not going to bring that back.
Of course. Yes. Solid, solid. And in the last 1 or 2 years, has AI generally? I would not say has AI helped you because that's a that's a very generic question and answer. But how has AI helped you? Have you? I would not say content. I would not ask content. Content, of course, is something which everyone knows. Apart from that, have you been incorporating? Because you're in general growing mushrooms. I think there's a lot of science in it. There's a lot of technology in it. Have you used AI for something which is not that obvious?
Not and see my. Let's forget about me for a bit, right?
Hmm.
Let's look at my team. Something I take
Right.
pride in is the fact that apart from one person, nobody in my team is qualified to grow mushrooms, right? Nobody's learned science. Many of these guys are
Mm,
just finished primary school, right?
right.
There's this inherent sense of rebellion in the people that we work with because what makes them they are here to make impact. They value what they have. They understand the workplace. They understand the freedom that we give them. We take care
Right.
of them, right? We take care of the families, and in return they want to give their best.
Mm,
It's not
right.
pressure. It's not because of pressure. They feel
Right.
inspired and they feel the sense of responsibility to give their best, right?
Correct.
We are constantly pushing people to do better than what they're doing earlier. So the
Right.
best person in our lab right now is Rajesh Bhai. And Rajesh Bhai initially had
Hmm.
come to the facility to actually help us with the infrastructure. He was doing painting work.
Okay.
But he was
Wow.
really smart. His
Right.
attitude was great, and he was very curious. And then he joined our team for housekeeping and other support tasks. Then he asked us, "What's happening in the lab? Like, what? Like, why can't I go inside and try to?
Hmm.
I want to learn by like all this mycology work." I said, "Are you sure you want to learn?" He's like, "I want to learn. Can you put in the work?"
Hmm.
He's like, "I'll do it." He said, "I will do it. If you teach me, I'll do it." And we taught him, and
Wow.
he's not bound, man. I realized, no, when we learn too much about something, we realize we put constraints on ourselves,
Hmm.
right? Where he has a task, he has the outcome in mind, but he doesn't have all these frameworks. So he finds a way to do it
Hmm.
almost always outside the box, and it solves the issue, right?
Wow.
Whereas
Right.
all the people who've studied biotech or come with a MSc degree, again,
Right.
no hate for people who are qualified. There are amazing people, but what happens to a lot of us who come from this background is we are in the box. We're looking at all these things with the existing framework. We don't see things that they do, right? Question is how do they use AI? They are the
Hmm.
ones who have benefited a lot from it, right?
Oh wow. Wow.
So
Yes.
extraction is very complicated, right? There's bunch of parameters, and we're working with something natural. Batch to batch variation is the name of the game, right?
Right.
Natural products means every batch the potency is going to change, the flavors might be different, the colors different, because mushrooms every batch is slightly different, right? That's how nature works. Nature is
Correct.
inherently programmed to create diversity, right? So most of the times earlier I had to intervene and do all the final like, let's, if you're standardizing your extract to a particular potency of a bioactive, right, you have to test that batch and you have to reverse calculate and understand what you need to tweak in the process to come to that level, correct?
Right. Correct.
They
Yes.
know how to operate the machinery, and when you give them the
Hmm.
recipe they do everything,
They
but
they
the
can do it. Right.
calculation, the math and the science of it, they knew it, but it took some effort, and the calculation was not, how do I say, it was not coming naturally to them.
Right.
It's not their way of thinking, even though they understood what we were trying to do.
Hmm.
We just built a couple of, what do you say, agents and some nice chats which they now use, and
Wow.
I
Right.
don't need to intervene in any of those things. They have learned
Right.
how to do it.
Wow. That's
Yeah, the
amazing.
solvent ratios, the temperatures, the time, the potency, the calculations, everything now they do with the help of AI.
Amazing.
Once in a while, I just
Amazing.
verify if the stuff is true. But
Right.
yeah, it's been
Most of
great.
the time it is.
Yeah, man,
Right.
it's really opened up this world of hardcore biotechnology to these guys and made it super accessible.
Wow. I need to call Rajesh Bhai to ChaiNet, I think, next. Starting from coming for a painting job to growing mushrooms, figuring out solvent ratios, using AI agents. Wow, that's
It's
empowerment, right? I completely agree with you now when you say, what inspires you to keep building, what inspires you to keep going. I think if this is happening behind the scenes of a company, then you can see the results, right? It's very different from anything else. Yes.
and even for emails, man, like these folks, they have never been taught English, right? They
Right.
found it hard. And just because you don't know English doesn't mean you're not intelligent.
Right.
You cannot
Correct.
measure intelligence with
Of course, with the
somebody's
language
vocabulary.
skill.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's two
100%.
different things,
Yes.
right? But how do I make him talk to a customer, right? How do I make these guys handle customer support where they know everything? They know how to grow the
Right.
mushrooms, they know what's wrong with the grow kit.
Right.
They don't know how to write it in the language which the customer understands.
Right.
They use ChatGPT to word their emails.
Right.
Now they have
Wow.
a direct link with the customer,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Right.
So they're also doing customer support. See one thing in my in our company is that in Nuvedo we are very flat. There is no
Hmm.
hierarchy, right?
Hmm.
Everyone does everything. All positions are interchangeable. We run the whole scene with 6 people in the
Hmm.
facility,
Wow.
right? We're growing more than 2 tons
Amazing.
of mushrooms every month
Hmm.
and using all of it internally from scratch, including dispatch. Everything is done in house with just
Hmm.
people, right? And
Amazing.
everybody's position that at that time becomes very critical. If one person's not there, then the show should still go on. So in that situation,
Right.
we've made sure that everyone is trained in everything,
Hmm.
right? And in such a situation, AI can make all the difference.
Correct.
It can make all the
Absolutely.
difference. So I feel
Absolutely.
like if you know how to use the tool, for these folks, it's been a game changer. Their life has changed because of AI.
Hmm. Amazing. Yeah. Wow. At one end, we're saying that AI is making so many software guys lose their jobs. So many people, making getting laid off and all of that. And yeah, this is the other end of it, right? Where it's empowering so many people to do much more than they could have because of restrictions, which can be solved with technology, right? Which they're
Yeah,
doing, right? Yes.
things beyond their control, man. It's the families
Hmm.
that you're born into. You don't choose all of these things, right?
Exactly,
Yeah,
right.
where life takes you.
Absolutely.
But now AI is able to overcome all of that. It's like giving them
Hmm.
that. It's giving them power to overcome all of that. The information is right
Right.
now on the fingertips.
Hmm.
So I feel like if educated and if these people, if you sort of show them what the possibilities are, I think it can change the world.
It can change the world. Wow. Yes. Amazing. Wow. So, Wow. So, Jashid, it's been 45 minutes we've been talking. Let's do one small section. We there's I've been trying to do it since a couple of times, and it has not worked. We'll try it again.
Sure.
So, I have four questions which I'm gonna ask you, and you have to answer in, let's say, less than 15 seconds, right? One or two words, or maybe like a small line, right?
Cool.
Like a rapid fire sort of a thing, which I'm trying. So yeah, let's start.
Hmm.
One belief you had about entrepreneurship before starting that turned out to be completely wrong.
That you need to have everything figured out
Amazing. And
before
something
starting.
you thought you did not think, and then you discovered that, okay, oh shit, this is something which I had to know.
Mm, you don't need to be an expert to do stuff.
Amazing. Yes. Um, I am, or the year you were on the farms, what taught you the most and why?
I would say the year on the farm
Right. And why?
because it taught me what you need to have a happy life.
Amazing. Biggest mistake you think you've made in your journey as a founder, and what did it cost you?
Waiting for the perfect moment to do something. And what it
Yes.
cost me is I could have gone to market much faster.
Amazing. Yes,
Yeah.
super. Last question. One thing that Indian wellness consumer still does not understand about what you are building.
These things only work if you put in the hard work. There are no silver bullets, there are no magic pills. If you are putting in the work to build a healthy lifestyle, wellness, health is a lifestyle. It's not a pill that you take.
Hmm.
So when you're trying to lead a healthy life and you use all these extracts or allies in your
Correct.
quest to a healthier life, it'll help you make progress faster. It'll help you reach your goals faster. You can perform better. But if you're doom scrolling at 12 o'clock in the night, no melatonin is going to help you fall.
Absolutely, yeah. Very well said. Well said. Great, amazing, Jashid. Thank you so much for doing this. It has been lovely, and I've learned a lot, honestly, in this session. Especially what you're doing from the outside. Before this conversation, I did not know what goes behind the scenes, and it's amazing. It's truly inspiring, and what like apart from the product, apart from the fact that it's a very different thing which you're doing, the Rajesh Bhai story is something which I will not forget for a very, very long time. And yeah, thank you for doing this. For all our listeners, that's a Jashid. He's the co-founder of Nuvedo. I think I'm getting the pronunciation wrong, right?
It's
It's
Nuvedo.
Nuvedo.
Ved,
Nuvedo.
yeah. From
Okay,
Ayurveda.
New
Yeah.
Vedo. Okay, oh, lovely,
Nuvedo.
lovely, New
That's it.
Vedo, amazing, and yeah, thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks, Rachit, and thank you for all the thoughtful questions. So, yeah, love the discussion. Very different from
Me.
the normal discussions I had, and this is question
that
part.
was that was the plan. That was the plan. Yes.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Have
so
a
much.
wonderful night.
Good night.
Yes. Bye bye. Good night.